if I had known Mark Green, I would have probably. I mean,
say it.
I don't think I would have voted for Bloomberg. I mean,
who
to be
would
honest
you
with
prefer to run
I was
near
not,
America?
You would have voted for Bill Thompson.
I was not registered in New York City at that time.
Who would you prefer to run near America? Mark Green or Mike Bloomberg?
Bloomberg.
Bloomberg probably would have run it.
Bloomberg by Bloomberg.
I mean, in a million years. Yeah. Any way that I could avoid being around Mark Green, I would take that opportunity, regardless would have been. All right, so we back up. Yeah. All right, folks, welcome. This is our new thing. You're here in time for us to do Pete Buttigieg, and I'm going to hang up on everybody on the phone. Sorry. Sucks, but that's the way it's going to go.
You didn't win. Is he going to pretend he won again?
I want to congratulate my competitors and their supporters
yes,
on their
he is going to pretend that he won.
How is this happening, guys?
I admired Senator Sanders when I was a high school student. I respect him greatly to this day.
He's making it like he won.
Congratulate him on his strong showing tonight.
He won, you little... Oh, I hate this kid.
I was a fan of his as a high school student.
Well, he wrote his thesis about him. But he's making it like Sanders has dropped out.
Vice President Biden and all of our Democratic candidates and supporters.
I hate this.
Pete, break out the sky blue tie. Break out the sky blue tie.
You know, I forget who made this joke. It isn't me, but it was, you know, and Mark said first is tragedy, then is farce. So it was first is Obama, then is Buttigieg.
That's good.
That's accurate.
That's very good.
Now, over the past year,
he needs to. I think Zaid Jilani just said that we're moving west, which is good for Bernie. I think that's true. But I mean, what we've been saying is really important about
the other thing that we're not even talking about is, regardless of whether he loses now, he is a part of the Democratic future.
Oh yeah,
right. Like it's not like he loses and goes away unless.
Well, look at his base, though. He's his support, with exception to donors, yes, but his support is not young. I mean, he has some young people, but it's not.
Fair enough. Maybe we can wait him out.
I mean, look at Cory Booker. Cory Booker thought he was the future, and he couldn't gather young people. Kamala Harris thought she was the future. She couldn't gather the support of young people.
Two people I would vote for over people who just. The thing that's amazing to me is like, who could possibly actually think that he could win a general election?
I don't know.
That's just like the other part that's just watching people who have built their whole media profiles on just like an endless hyperventilation about Donald Trump just be so fundamentally unserious about beating him. And also like the same people who have like been, you know, like talking about race and other really important issues in such like reductive, meme-like, embarrassing ways, and then all of a sudden they're just like, "Oh yeah, the two candidates will rally around it. The two people with systemic racism in their policing records.
Well, that's
no problem.
Shows you where we are as a country, right?
Exactly. It's so
because they're being propped up by wealthy, you know, astroturfers essentially.
Absolutely. But like this, like honestly, this is not somebody who's winning a general election against Donald Trump.
No.
Both for like reasons that are wrong and we have to fight, like that video we played.
He's doing exactly what I want him to do.
You go out there, you little fool.
Let's be clear. He couldn't beat Tom Perez.
Right.
He couldn't beat Keith Ellison for the DNC. He didn't get like 2 votes.
If there was a candidate in this race,
auditor race.
I'm not suggesting this is the fact this is at all. But if there was a candidate in this race who would sit down with Mike Bloomberg and say, like, I'll be your stalking horse.
It would be him.
Until Super Tuesday.
It would be him.
Right?
Absolutely.
I mean.
Absolutely.
Or Deval Patrick. And Deval Patrick's like, shit, my lane was taken.
I feel like Deval Patrick would be like, I'm not going to do that. Like I've got my like I've got plenty of finance money to make.
Yeah,
I don't
Deval's got his own money and he's got his own narrative. Also, again, Deval Patrick becoming a black governor of Massachusetts, which is not exactly known for super ahead of the curve
What?
policy. Yeah, I'm sorry that
Is
this
it the
our state
Irish or
like
the
that.
The irony is that Brooks was the first.
that's true.
The
Was it Brooke or Brooks? Edmund Brooke?
Edward Brooks. Brooks? Edward Brooke.
I thought it was Edmund Brooke, but I don't.
Not Edmund,
Regardless,
Edward.
It's very
African-American
Massachusetts. You thought
senator.
Bill Thompson
It
was insider.
Well, he was a national figure, sweetheart.
Vox just
Bill
called
Thompson's
it for
your
Bernie.
favorite comptroller.
Vox called it for Bernie. Vox calls it for Bernie.
Fox calls it for Bernie.
Case-
Shut up.
Jeez.
Who owns Vox?
It's tightening, though.
This is insane, guys.
Thank you.
They just need to
Wall Street
work on their organizing.
Edward
Wall
Brooke.
Street
Team
Pete.
stretches across the country. We go forward fueled by hundreds of thousands of grassroots supporters. From the woman in Minnesota who donated in honor of the wife she lost to lung cancer, to the veteran from Connecticut
Because she was
who
like,
sent
I'm not getting my Medicare for all, and you're
$19.68
what?
in honor of the year that he served in
What are you
Vietnam.
gonna do for her?
This campaign belongs to them.
Oh my God, guys.
And if our
I
campaign
think so,
moves
too.
you, I hope you'll go to PeteForAmerica.com and chip in whatever you can.
These people are embarrassing.
And we go forward knowing that this
Oh, he's
is
got
our
that
chance,
heavy-
our only chance.
He's using the.
Not just to
Oh, yeah,
end
he's
the
using
era
these.
of
Using the.
Donald Trump, but
I'm
to launch the
talking
era
about
we know
something
must
that
come
has
next.
heft and weight. I'm showing you.
And the stakes could not be higher. We cannot afford to miss the
Sophia.
mark or
I think
to
it's
miss
horrible,
this
by the way.
moment. We must get this right.
This takes.
With Americans living under an unaccountable president who will cut taxes for corporations and then cut Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security for the rest of us, we must get this right.
I would only interrupt this speech for something very important, but I want to tell you that NBC News now projects.
Nice.
Take that, you little rat-faced prick.
Senator Sanders' campaign we had thought might be waiting
Boom.
for such a call.
Oh, I'm
Before he
sorry.
gave his own
Fuck you,
remarks
Pete.
tonight.
Fuck you,
Go on to
Pete.
Pete Buttigieg's
Boom.
remarks. Buttigieg's
Maybe you
remarks, he
shouldn't
looks
come
like he's
out
going to be
so
coming in
quickly.
a fairly close second to Senator
Didn't time
Sanders
that
tonight,
one,
but again, NBC
CIA.
predicting Bernie
Speaking about
Sanders
getting it
as the
just
winner in
right,
New
I guess you got it just wrong.
Dare not risk 4 more years.
And I've
of this
never been a fan of
presidency. We
Pete's.
must
Yeah, I've never been a fan of Pete.
Fan of his
Little-
father.
Yes.
Wall Street Pete. Wall Street Pete. Wall Street Pete. Can you hit me with Will O'Reilly, please?
Now we
Also, look up the TrueAnon thread on one of Pete's main Wall Street
we
donors.
must be equally clear about the choice at hand.
Is this the thing?
My
That's the thing.
competitors and I share
it.
the same fundamental goals: bringing balance to our economy, guaranteeing health care to every American, combating a climate crisis and a rising tide of gun violence.
Please.
But we do differ
all right,
in
let's
what
make
we
way for
believe it will
first place
take
guy.
to make that
What
happen.
episode was this?
In this election season, we have been told by some that you must either be for revolution or you are for the status quo.
Shut up.
But where does that
Fighting
leave
Warren.
the rest of us?
It leaves you with
Most
the.
Americans don't see where they fit in that polarized vision. And we can't defeat the most divisive president in modern American history by tearing down anybody who doesn't agree with us 100% of the time.
Rat. We have a rat problem.
New Hampshire, thank you for the victory, and moving forward, we have a rat problem.
Bring your mouse traps, folks.
Wait,
Get your-
why haven't they gotten one of those
Get
rats?
your mouse traps ready.
Oh, one of the.
Giant rats and just put it outside of his rally.
Why hasn't
rat.
the campaign, the Sanders campaign?
Somebody done it. Not.
Yes.
Could Brianna join?
Somebody.
Could Bri do that, please? After you record the next episode of Hear the Bird, I'd like a giant Teamster style.
He's going to
rat.
speak, incidentally, for like
No, he's such a little.
7
waiting for
hours
Bernie.
now.
Oh, I hate
this
this
son of a
kid
bitch.
so much. Bernie should just go up there and cut into his speech. Just do
Bernie
some
needs to hurry
alpha
up.
move.
Yeah.
You know what? He should.
No, absolutely should.
They should.
Totally.
They right now.
Yeah, go take
I
his
hope
spot.
they're texting whatever guy as the Buttigieg's and saying he's got 5 minutes, and then we're coming.
Right.
Here's heads up. We're coming out.
We also know better than to try to defeat such a disruptive president by relying on the same Washington framework and mindset. After all,
my
if today's
God.
Washington were serving America well, a guy like Donald Trump would never have come within cheating distance of the Oval Office in the first place.
Cheating?
Really? You really want to go there, you little prick?
And you, sir, you're a pretender.
So to win and to govern, we need to bring new voices to our capital. We need to get Washington starting to work more like our best-run cities and towns rather than the other way around.
Shut up, Pete. Everyone hates you, including your parents.
Definitely your parents.
Absolutely. Someone set up a Pete's
When you
disappointed
talk this
father.
way, you might get dismissed as a
Sorry,
naive
I know.
newcomer.
I'm not
Oh,
in
he's-
the mood.
But
Yeah.
a fresh outlook is what.
Ladies and gentlemen, moving forward, we have a rat
New
problem.
majority.
There's got to be a union that has a rat. You got to place it.
And election after election has shown us that putting forward a new perspective
Oh God,
is how
I cannot
Democrats win
wait
the White House,
till he
and
gets
we will win the
humiliated
White
in
House.
South Carolina.
What's he saying?
I hope Bloomberg buys out all of
President
these
Pete.
consultants.
President
Which
Pete?
is not a phrase I can ever
So
imagine
as we
hearing.
take
No.
this campaign
He's
to the
not
rest of
going
the
to be
country,
president.
Let's welcome that debate. Let's have that debate.
Yeah.
Let's debate what the best way forward is, the best way to earn the White House, and the best way to unify this country.
Every time I
And the
tweet about
answers,
him.
they lie in a vision that brings Americans together, not only in the knowledge of what we must stand against, but in the confidence of knowing what we are for.
Yeah, that's what we need.
What? Is that an applause
Wow,
line?
that sounds
This
deep,
is
bro.
the powerful
Oh my God.
majority
How much
we
is
are
it?
gathering together, from Davenport to Dover, from Carson City to Columbia. It is a coalition of addition, not subtraction.
What?
It is a movement reaching into church
Oh, here we
basements and
go.
barbershops, into universities and union halls, carrying the same values with us everywhere we go. We saw that coalition awakening. We saw it tonight in cities and suburbs, from the seacoast to those industrial towns too often left behind.
You lost.
All right, Bernie, come out.
Come on, Bernie.
We are
I'm
building
looking
a
up union
future
rat
where there will be
quotes,
no
how much
such
money it
thing
costs.
as an uninsured American or an unaffordable prescription. That's what we can deliver with a plan most Americans can get behind.
Oh, man, I was
Medicare
excited
for
it
all
was
who
gonna be a
want it,
drop for a
ensuring
second.
care for every American, but trusting you to choose whether you want it and when you
I don't
want
know
it.
how much it is.
No, Miki and I are on the giant inflatable rat rental website right now.
Together, we will stop enabling
awesome.
corporate greed and start raising wages.
Oh, here comes Bernie.
Oh, thank you.
There
An
we go.
actual human being on stage.
They got the fundraising goal on the side there.
Good. That's super smart. They should really say, like, help us keep up with Bloomberg.
Thank you.
Just keep an eye on the what's happening on the networks. I'm curious if they're going to cut to him in the middle of Buttigieg's thing. They should drop him, right? I mean, this is the winner.
you.
Yep. This is the actual winner.
It's totally affordable. It should be everywhere.
Empowering workers and making.
Sort of feel like the Sanders camera should be in front of the candidate, but
Thank you.
Oh, there you go. They were trying to show that there's a lot more people there.
Thank you, New Hampshire. Thank you, New Hampshire. Let me
MSNBC did cut to
this
Bernie.
They did?
opportunity
All right, pick it up
to
there. I just want to see what they
people
say.
of New Hampshire for a great victory tonight.
Do you know if CNN did? Oh, okay.
Let me thank the thousands of volunteers in New Hampshire. Thank you. Who knocked on doors in the rain and the snow and the cold. The reason that we won tonight in New Hampshire, we won last week in Iowa, is because of the hard work of so many volunteers. And let me say tonight that this victory here is the beginning of the end for Donald Trump.
Let me also say we have a little bit of a rat problem that we're going to take care of in South Carolina.
And I'm not talking about Tim Heidecker.
I'm not talking about the great video satirist Tim Heidegger. Talking about a little rat-faced prick who just spoke a few minutes ago.
I think we all know who I'm talking about.
I just Bigfooted him.
Nevada, we're going to South Carolina. We're going to win those states as well.
You know who isn't going to win those states? The rat who fires black police chiefs.
I want to take the opportunity to express my appreciation and respect.
Incidentally, Elizabeth Warren's a total hater.
We ran
I'll
against.
finally tell you what I said in that conversation. A woman can and will be president, but not you because you suck.
Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, and what I can tell you
Assorted losers.
with absolute certainty, and I know I speak for every one of the Democratic candidates, is that no matter who wins, and we certainly hope it's going to be us, we are going to unite together.
I'll tell you, I think what we're going to see.
We are going to unite together and defeat
The
the
moment
most
that
dangerous president
Warren
in the
drops
modern
out,
history
and I think
of
we're
this
already going to
country.
start to see this happening. I think there's going to be a surprising amount of
And
the
reason I
establishment,
believe we are going
or
to
that
win
what we perceive as the
is that we
establishment, are
have
going to get
an
on board.
unprecedented
Because I think there is
grassroots movement
an animosity
from
towards
coast to
Buttigieg
coast
Yeah.
of millions
and an
of
animosity
people.
towards Bloomberg. I think Klobuchar is the closest real threat.
The
But I
reason
guess
that we
I
are
just
going to
I think
win
that they
is
just
that we
will
are
feel
putting
like
together
she's number
an
3 or 4
unprecedented,
after Bloomberg and Buttigieg, and I think you're going to see
multiracial political movement.
Sanders already. You can hear it now. He's already like tacking, not so much to the center from like a policy standpoint,
we
but
were
in terms of
talking about
rhetoric.
earlier.
Movement from
It's-
I agree. It's
coast to coast.
signifying.
It's the netroots people. That's why we have to. I mean, as much as it's fun to hiss at Warren, we have to be like a little bit cautious at this point because the Matt Iglesiases, the Vox writers, they're now realizing that this is the safest bet for not having an oligarchy or a Pete.
It's very cool that there are people who would be willing to sacrifice 4
And I
more years
wanna
of Trump
thank
because they don't like a little bit of
all
satire
of
on a
those
podcast.
people
Speaks very
who
well
have
of them.
worked and contributed to our campaign.
I agree with you. Sam.
I did not like that Warren
This
material
point
one
in the
bit.
campaign,
Trump
we are
2020.
taking on billionaires.
Turns into
and we're
ammunition.
taking
Well, I think
on
it's true for
candidates
supporters. I mean,
funded
my
by
attitude
billionaires.
is always respect and openness to supporters. Candidates,
It's the meat. They just take
But we are
everything and
gonna
they
win
do the Ben Dixon thing. And they just
Because we
Michael Brooks is
have
creating
the
divisions.
agenda
Bernie
that
Sanders,
speaks to the needs of
propagandists.
working people throughout this country.
also for Lula.
Health care is a human right, not a privilege.
I think Sam's right too. I would throw in a little bit of that, like get money out of politics stuff.
The wealthy and powerful will start paying their fair share of taxes.
It was really interesting to watch Morning Joe.
We will
sort
make
of
public
start to embrace
colleges
it. That
and
was
universities tuition-free and cancel
especially
all
compounded by
student
Heidelman
debt.
ripping into Bloomberg.
David Feldman says no one loses better than Pete Buttigieg.
We know that climate change is very real and an existential crisis for our planet. We are prepared to tell the fossil fuel industry that their short-term profits are not more important than the future of our planet.
I just feel like he's not talking about grit.
Isn't it amazing, though, frankly, that, like, Bernie probably should occasionally remind people that he had, like, relatives who are literally victims of the Holocaust, but chooses not to because he's so earnest about this stuff, and everybody else is still doing the, like, I was born in a place called Hope.
Right.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
We are
You know, it might be interesting if that Buttigieg
immigration reform.
Bloomberg path happens. This clears up a lot of union money for Bernie that may have been held up with Warren or Biden.
Safety policies will be determined
And that's manpower,
by the
too.
American people,
And if we go into
not
Nevada,
the NRA.
I mean, that's why I think, obviously Warren's going to go into Nevada, but
and under our
nice to have the
administration,
culinary workers,
it will
for
be
instance,
women, not
supporting
the
Bernie.
government, who control their own lives.
They are on the brink, and the Medicare for All is a problem for them.
Now, our campaign
And that's the case with
is
Warren
not
as well.
just
But they supported
about
Hillary
beating
last time,
Trump.
and
It is about
Obama?
transforming this country.
I don't remember, but they're concerned. I know they're concerned about it. I've been reading about that. I've heard about it
It is
from
about
calls.
having the courage to take on Wall Street, the insurance companies, the drug companies, the fossil fuel industry, the military-industrial complex. So tonight, I want to thank the people of New Hampshire for this great victory, thank our volunteers, and urge all Americans to join our effort to transform this country at BernieSanders.com.
That is the appropriate length for a speech, ladies and gentlemen.
So it's on to Nevada, it's on to South Carolina, it's on to win the Democratic nomination.
I love how he steps on those chairs. Honestly,
He is
I do.
a master of
And together,
going to like a rally like the one in
no
Queens
doubt
with like 30,000
that
people
we
in
will
AOC
defeat
and just like
Donald Trump.
the charge
Thank
of
you all
it
very
and him
much.
still just being like,
Shut up. I want to talk about radio licensing for community stations. Shut up. For point to get to.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
oh, bless you.
Let's see. Let's 5 minutes and then we're out of here. I just want to see what the reaction is to the speech. I'm just curious as to what they're saying.
He's going to kill me. There's a list.
This is a horrible
written
night
in
for
Havana
America.
right now.
We're terrified. Bernie Sanders has spoken, and of course, it is.
I'd like to leave a little message with Chris Matthews.
Obviously, this is an important.
You, sir, we're coming for you.
Coming for you.
Finish with Pete Buttigieg in
Cornell.
Iowa ahead
I
in
love
the
it.
popular
Yes,
vote,
Cornell.
slightly behind in the
Imagine a
delegates.
Democratic
Tonight, NBC
convention
News
with
projections
no
of the
Bill
winner in
Clinton
New
and
Hampshire
Cornell
again.
West in the prime
Buttigieg
speaking
right
slot.
on his
I got
heels,
news for
but
you. I got some bad
a win
news.
for
Bill
Sanders
Clinton's
as
gonna be there,
projected by
but-
NBC.
Hillary's going to speak.
Him there with his whole
Yes,
extended
yes.
family. You see supporters.
I don't know.
including some
Actually, I mean,
Maybe she
I'm
won't.
not- I don't know
Anyway.
about that.
Maybe she
Think
wouldn't
she's
do
gonna
it.
do anything after all this?
Sanders is
I don't know
basically
about
saying
that.
Well, I'm happy about this.
Yeah. No,
My
she'll-
strategy worked.
Joe
But
Lieberman.
he's-
She'll be at the
he's coming
Republican
out.
convention.
Yeah, exactly.
Donald
Trump's kept us safe, given me tax cuts, not investigated Ghislaine Maxwell, and other things on my agenda.
Buttigieg coming in so close to him here in New Hampshire. We'll
So
see
close.
with the next 10% of the vote in. We'll see how that results. And Buttigieg coming to a surprise first-place tie finish in Iowa. He's obviously the one for Sanders to beat at this point, which nobody could have projected. But Sanders is clearly on the top.
As we New York Giants fans say at least 5 times a year, a win is a win.
What?
Steve Kornacki, I know you've been bringing in more numbers.
Yeah, we could take you through a couple important things as this night kind of wraps up in terms of the results. We were showing you all night that Sanders was leading, saying there's a long shot scenario there for Buttigieg. The ultimate reason why this race was called at the moment, it was a big part of it had to do with this town finally reporting, the college town, the state university, the University of New Hampshire. You saw Bernie Sanders won this thing, double digits, a margin of about 500 over Buttigieg. We expected something like that to happen, needed to see it to get that thing called statewide. And so at that point, this race was then called for Sanders. You see there are still some outstanding things on the map here. We can tell you big picture. Why is Sanders on top as this night comes to an end?
He got more votes.
He won the 7 largest cities in the state of New Hampshire. He won Manchester, the biggest one. He won Nashua. He won Concord, Dover, Rochester, Portsmouth, and Keene. He won the 7 largest, so that certainly helped him. Where was he weak? Where were there opportunities for Buttigieg to get this close? We talked all night about bedroom communities along that Massachusetts-New Hampshire border. You see Pelham
That makes
right
sense.
here.
That's not alarming.
Buttigieg was winning these. Some of
David
these places.
Feldman.
Here's an example.
I
Wyndham.
can't believe Bernie
There's a lot of
Sanders'
people.
victory speech did not include a single apology to Hillary Clinton. How dare he gloat in that way? It's divisive, and it's why nobody likes him, and he can't expect to win in Iowa, New Hampshire, and all other primaries to come.
Oh, by the way, they're saying turnout is approaching 2008 levels now, so it was good.
That's good.
Better
Sam.
than 2016.
Well, 2016 was 250, and now, I mean, they're not giving. We don't see the numbers right now, but I think we're getting closer to 300 now, 275, 280 maybe. And all right, well, folks, wow, we hit 17,000. We were actually doing better than we did in the first video.
Wow.
We should do that all the time. Randomly stop our live stream. You know what it is? It's the new backdrop.
Bernie
Sort
with
of picking
the,
up-
Bernie
people-
with the
I think it's
BD.
people are tuning in now for results, but it might be the backdrop.
It could be the backdrop
Really-
or the
Is
results.
it Bernie on TV, maybe?
I feel like they're going to have to begrudgingly admit that Bernie won, and then most of the energy of overperformance will go to Klobuchar. And I wonder, I don't know, Pete, it's tricky. He hasn't actually won anything.
You know who
I
else?
mean, he's overperformed.
He's
and-
definitely, but I think the more exciting overperformed story is Klobuchar
Yeah.
because they've been trying to make that happen for a long time anyway.
How many did Biden didn't cross 15?
Brian did not.
No, Biden is.
Toast.
Yeah, that's.
Joe, we talked about it being flat with
Let's just look at the most recent polls for the Nevada Democratic primary.
Caucus, right?
Caucus, yeah.
The caucus, I should say. And well, Sanders is up in the last poll. This is now the average as of February 11th. Sanders 24, Bloomberg 8, Biden 18, Warren 12, Buttigieg 8.5. Klobuchar is at 3.6. I feel like this is completely inoperative now, right? I mean, I just think it's going to be, the only thing that I think you can count on here is that Sanders is going to stay.
When was this taken?
Well, this is the aggregate, and you can see really through since January, Sanders. I mean, Sanders has always been in the neighborhood since early October of 20%.
Yeah.
And he is now at his peak, 24%. There's no reason to think that coming off of this, he's going to lose any support in Nevada. The only question is where does Biden's 18% go? Where does Warren's 12% go? It's hard to imagine a scenario where those numbers go up because there's no positive
No.
reinforcement.
There's
right?
not,
I mean,
it's not going to happen.
There's no positive story here. It's not like people are going like, well, wait a second. I was for Sanders, but now I can see that Biden's on the brink of getting eliminated. I'm going to be for Biden. That's
bad
not
for him.
right.
Sanders is fine. It's not even a question. I think how much of the leverage of power in a very mechanical state like Nevada does Biden hold on to, just like South Carolina. Like we're now moving into the territory where it's an operation. It's not open. It's not populist. It's party rule. You know, Harry Reid does what he does for people, but they're not going to win. It's just how much of that support do they keep?
How does that get redistributed?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, you know, I would imagine the 30% that we see between Biden and Warren, they'll retain half of that, but that other 15%, I would imagine, is going to go to, you know, Buttigieg and Klobuchar, maybe Bloomberg.
Some of it may be Bernie.
Yeah, I think
Some of it could be Bernie.
I think
Some of it could be
particularly,
Bernie.
I mean, in these places where, you know, like, I don't know. I mean, Nevada, Bernie has pulled really well with Hispanic voters from the beginning. Yeah. And I think he's running the right kind of campaign for there. So.
And then just then looking ahead to South Carolina. Well, you know what? We'll do this tomorrow.
That sounds good.
To hell with you people. Honestly. Honestly.
Right.
What are you doing?
Trying to kill us.
That was a fun night. That worked out pretty well. I would have liked to have seen Bernie Sanders do a little bit better, frankly, and create more space between him and Buttigieg. I would like to have seen him pick up 4 points, 3 at the expense of Buttigieg and 1 at the expense of Klobuchar, maybe. But to quote what's his face?
Pete Buttigieg?
No.
Pete Buttigieg,
Williams?
the shape
Williams?
of your aspirations.
Who is that guy?
Marianne Williamson?
No,
Marianne Williamson.
the host on MSNBC.
Chris Matthews?
Brian Williams.
Chris Matthews.
Apparently, the Giants take a win is a win. I mean,
That's
I'm a
right.
Pats
We
fan.
say that about 4 or
God.
5 times a year. I want to give Marianne Williamson some props. Somebody was out canvassing, and they said a guy who supported Sanders in 2016, then supported her, and now supported Buttigieg, and he was trying to get him back to Sanders. And she said, she quote tweeted, and she said, "If you can get me this person's number, I will call them personally." She does not like Buttigieg.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, there you go. All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, Michael Brooks' show will happen tomorrow night.
Cristobal Malika Jabali.
And the Noma Key show is happening on Thursday. When do you release?
Tape on Thursday. We release to Patreon on Saturday and Monday on YouTube. Is this right, Dorsey?
Still working
you
it out.
guys.
Still working out.
Sorting this
Still
out.
working out the kinks.
But we're putting out stuff on YouTube and Patreon every single day, basically.
Folks, head
She's
over to
announced
Patreon.
that she already has more patrons than you, though.
Than me?
And the Buttigieg model.
I'm total. I love it. On board with that.
Just not releasing it.
Dorsey, thanks for helping out tonight.
Thanks,
Matt,
Dorsey.
people will check out Literary Hangover. You reading another poem?
Yeah, I read a book on Bacon's Rebellion. If you remember that from history class in high school, you'll want to listen to this.
A lot of
episode.
people waiting for Shay's Rebellion, but that's all right.
Yeah, but those people will probably overlook a lot of the interesting things in Bacon's Rebellion. That
It's because I think Shay's Rebellion's a little more.
All right, guys, we got to get out of here. Thank you.
Folks, see you tomorrow.
It might take all the strength. I wasn't looking when I just got caught.